Hey guys, welcome back. Somebody asked me a really good question. They wanted to ask if I could do a video on Godspousing as towards like the wedding, and did we do a wedding ceremony and such forth and such not. And if you don't like Godspousing, you can leave now. I don't need to hear about it. And I'll discuss what it was like with Loki, because that was the first, even though he was dishonest little git. um, And that was long before, for me, long before, any of the Marvel movies or anything. I had no idea Godspousing was a thing. I grew up where I grew up, so I didn't have, we didn't have the interwebs and stuff like that, or access to it, or it was probably around, but like in my household, it wasn't there. So, um, we actually had like a lot of discussions, say in the courtship stage. I was concerned. I was like, at the time, like having a dowry was still hanging on because I had older parents, and obviously my father couldn't have given Loki a dowry, and he'd have killed Loki if he'd known. And you could not have. He discussed it for his part. It wasn't like he could take me and set me up in a home, and he wouldn't be going out to work as, a physical person, and we had to really discuss this back and forth. In fact, he actually, even though he was courting me, it was almost like maybe this is a really bad idea. And when we finally were getting planned to get married, I kind of had to use ulterior motives to get people to make stuff. I had a kind of a wedding thing made, and I got like a bouquet made and stuff like that, and I kind of like had to have ulterior motives for it to be made. And that's not the best place to be in for a wedding, but again, I had no idea. And we decided to make up our own vows, and we had like a really simple ceremony. And again, remember, I did not know this was Loki, so it wasn't like this huge ceremony. And, I lit a candle, and we had some food, what's forth and what's not, and so forth and so on. So it was relatively simple. It wasn't like it would be now, where people are basing them more on the marriage law, and they're, like doing more. But, to us, it was, it was sufficient. It was actually a big deal, and it was as far as I could go financially and realistically. Had you been marrying a spirit in my time, in the culture I grew up in, people would have taken you to mental health and left you there. And I'd still be there to this day. So you kind of had to be careful. It was kind of closeted. And I appreciate the irony, seeing that as a gay person. And so it was like that. And the person also asked, do we do anything to like renew the vows or anything? We do things where we'll like spend time together, but it's never on any set schedule. And like for a while, the anniversary was really important, but then it was, we will celebrate our anniversary kind of whenever we feel like celebrating it. So we might have it a couple times a year, but that makes sense for us. And it was not like a really big thing. I know some women today have had a thing where they have this huge marriage in the astral realm, and they have, a wedding dress, and they have attendees and everything else. But the only reason we honestly didn't have it is he asked me if I wanted a really big wedding, and I was like, no. I'd been forced to go to enough weddings as a child, and I just never dug them. I was like, I don't want to have to go through a huge ceremony. And the only ceremonies I honestly knew of were in the church, because, that transitioning period. And I did not I had no desire to go through that, and then I'm thinking like hours and hours and hours of sitting there, in a reception. But we had something short in a dream, like the wedding, the night of the ceremony, but it was short and sweet, and it was like, we don't need society, we make our own rules. So that was really sweet. And through the years, as I wrote really, really, really bad fan fiction, I found myself writing more and more and more wedding scenes that people wanted, and Loki kind of be peering over my shoulder and helping me write those. But, for each person, it's going to be different. If you've always dreamed of that huge wedding, and you've always wanted opulent wedding clothes, and you've always wanted 100 guests or something else, you can work that out. But it's just like, it is just like a regular marriage, between two humans. And I am specifying because you can marry almost anything today. And it's a thing where it can take a lot of planning. It's just like regular marriage. You can take a lot of planning, months, years, whatever, or you can get married Vegas style and like, boom, you're married. I'd say if you're going to do a ritual, it has to be something that makes, you both happy, and you feel comfortable. If you're going to share it with anyone else, only share it with those that feel comfortable and understand. Like, for example, if you work in a group where Loki comes down and possesses people, for example, if you were going to go that way, make sure everybody would be on board with it. It's like in Voodoo when they have the marriage loa, it's a huge deal. It takes months and months and lots of money to plan because you have to get the wedding clothes and everything else, and you never know who the horse is going to be, and blah, 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 blah. And so, if you want to do a really huge ritual like that involving possession, that's one thing entirely, and I have not done that, so you would have to ask someone that has, actually gone through a possession marriage. And if you're going to do it like in an informal way, like maybe some people are gathered around, but you're just doing a ritual, and you do it till you feel Loki's presence or such not, or you do it privately, then you can make it as elaborate or simple as you want. I would say go with what you actually like. I mean, this is your wedding day, so this is a big deal. To me, I'm very pro, if you want that dress or suit or whatever kind of wedding clothes you want, and if you want them for Loki, and if you want gifts, and you want food, and you want music and decorations and everything, go for it. You don't have to. If you're in the situation kind of where I was, where you have to really fly under the radar and you can't be really open about the marriage, you can do something as simple as, meditation, and do the marriage that way, and it will mean as much, if not more, because as the years go on, an important part is that you're together. It's not, how elaborate the wedding was. I was really happy with our simple wedding. I would have been absolutely miserable with a grand fiesta, even if I could have. But, to each their own. But I'd say don't feel bad if you can't afford to, or you can't publicly be running around buying stuff, because I'm well aware, having been in that position when, paganism wasn't even widely accepted at the time. There wasn't as much internet access. You did not have books and videos and everything. I know what it's like to be in that position where you're going to end up in a mental health center if people see you running out and buying wedding clothes for this invisible spouse. So, yeah, do what you can. Do what you feel comfortable with. Make sure that you are talking with Loki. And this would apply to any god, too. And after my marriage to Loki, as the others would come forward, it was actually really simple. They were like, yeah, if you make me a simple meal and light a candle, I'm fine, I'm good. It wasn't any less romantic. It was just Loki had been the one to have that honor of like all the huge stuff, and having already been married, it's kind of like your second marriage, even though you still have the first one. It's complicated. You guys know what I mean. Like by the eighth marriage, or like whatever, when you see people get married and divorce and get married and divorced or whatever. By the eighth marriage, you're just like, yeah, whatever. So, and it can be simple, and it doesn't invalidate the marriage. So, go with what feels right. Don't be jealous if you got a very simple ceremony and then you read this ridiculously detailed ceremony that someone had that like the whole fairy court showed up and every don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It doesn't mean one marriage was more important or less important or whatever. Um, Sometimes I think people like to embellish a tad bit, and some people share way too much information. So yeah, but if you're going to write a ritual, for example, for it, I would say keep it in the style of the rituals you already do. Um, but of course, consult with Loki on that, and consult with any other gods you have, because if they want to attend the wedding, they should by all means be invited. And go for there. I was kind of blessed and cursed in the time that when I married Loki, there was no one else to attend the marriage, so it was just us two doing the ceremony. But if there are like other gods, or you have people that are open to a spirit or god marriage and they want to attend and everything else, then sit down and write the ritual. It's probably gonna take you a while, or you could ad lib. I'm not judging. I think we went halfway between something written down and ad libbing. So yeah, I hope that helped. There's no one way to do it. It's not like there's a book written out there. Well, there probably is, and I haven't seen it, but there's no one way to do a spirit marriage. Some people, it's as simple as they meet a god they click with, they have a night of intimacy, and that's the marriage to them. That sealed the marriage pact. I've read experiences like that. For some people, I think Loki's just walked up to them and said, "We're married." And that was that. So, there's no right way or wrong way to do it. I'd say the only wrong way to do it is to say you don't believe in marriage and then run around trying to destroy everybody else's marriage and saying, "Look, never marries people." Yeah, that would be the one wrong way to do it. But other than that, go with the flow, do what you like. There's really no set rules for a marriage. It just has to be what you feel comfortable with. I never was very into high magic and very long ceremonies, so that explains why my ritual was more simple. But if you want to have that huge complex ritual and Loki agrees and it works out for you, then all the best. But I don't write long complex rituals, so I can't help you there. So yeah guys, I hope that helped. I know it's probably anticlimactic that it was, it was more, we had more to do in the planning phase than in the actual ritual, but that was my experience. And then afterwards, each marriage was even more simple. It was, "Oh, hey, you're here, okay. We're married, good." But not quite that cavalier. I mean, I made sure there were at least rings picked out. But, it was a lot more simple after Loki. Loki got the biggest amount of time and planning and such forth and such not. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.